The dark room filled with red warning lights as Admiral Lillian Vega walked onto the bridge of the TSV Artemis. Her boots made no sound on the soft floor covering. The crew stood at attention before returning to their stations. Their faces showed worry and fear. Lillian moved to the main viewing screen and crossed her arms. The screen showed empty space, but small dots appeared at the edge. Something was coming. Lieutenant Kelly Wright spoke in a quiet voice. "Admiral, we have unknown ships entering our scanning range." "How many?" asked Lillian without taking her eyes off the screen. 20, no wait. 40. Lieutenant Kelly tapped more buttons on her control panel. "The number keeps changing. Something is interfering with our scanners." Lillian pressed a button on the arm of her command chair. "All crew battle stations, this is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." The bridge exploded with activity as crew members ran to their positions. The lights changed from red to a deep blue. Weapon systems came online as defensive shields powered up. The Kieran Empire had ruled human space for over 100 years. They took what they wanted. They killed who they wanted. Humans were nothing more than tools to them. But today might change everything. "Chief," Engineer Susan Porter called from the engine room. "Admiral, the new drive system is at 80%. We cannot push it harder without risking a breakdown." "That will have to do." "Susan." "Keep it steady," replied Lillian. She turned to her second in command, First Officer Dana Franklin. "What do we know about these ships?" Dana looked up from her screen. "Nothing matches our records. They are not Kieran designs. They are not human. They seem to absorb our scanning signals rather than reflect them." "Interesting," said Lillian. "Are they responding to communication attempts?" Communications Officer Tina Hall shook her head. "No, Admiral. We have tried all known frequencies and codes. No response." The unknown ships moved closer. Their dark shapes became clearer on the main screen. They looked like giant black triangles, but they seemed to change shape as they moved, as if they were made of liquid metal. "Open a channel to Earth." Command ordered Lillian. "They need to know what we are seeing." Tina worked at her station for several moments before looking up with concern. "Unable to connect, Admiral. All communication channels to Earth are being blocked." Lillian felt a cold feeling in her stomach. This was not good. The Artemis was humanity's newest and most advanced warship. Built in secret on the dark side of the moon, it represented hope. Hope that one day humans could break free from Kieran control. But they needed more time. The ship was not fully tested. The largest of the unknown ships suddenly accelerated. It moved with impossible speed, covering vast distance in seconds. It stopped directly in front of the Artemis, close enough that it filled the entire viewing screen. Weapons hot, called Lillian. "Target." The center mass of the main vessel. Weapons Officer Robin Lee responded. "Target locked. Admiral, railguns are charged. Missile tubes 1 through 20 are ready." The unknown ship did something strange. Its surface rippled like water in a pond. Then a beam of light shot out, not at the Artemis, but at a nearby moon. The small moon exploded into dust. Everyone on the bridge watched in shock. This was beyond any weapon technology known to humans or Kierans. The unknown ship had destroyed a moon the size of Earth with a single shot. Another light appeared on the ship, but this one was different. It was a soft blue glow that expanded outward. In moments it reached the Artemis. The crew tensed, expecting death. Nothing happened. Then a voice spoke inside. Lillian's head inside. Everyone's head. It did not use language, but somehow they all understood. "We are the precursors. We have returned. The cycle begins anew." Lillian gripped her chair as images flashed through her mind. Ancient battles, massive ships, dying stars, worlds torn apart. And through it all, the Kieran's, younger but still recognizable, taking technology that was not theirs, using it to conquer and destroy. The voice continued. "The Kierans have broken the covenant. They have enslaved when they should have uplifted. They have destroyed when they should have created. Their empire must end." Lieutenant Kelly gasped. "Admiral, look." The main screen showed a Kieran battle fleet appearing from hyperspace. Hundreds of warships, their green energy signatures unmistakable. They had found the Artemis attack. All human vessels ordered the Kieran commander over an open channel. No survivors. The Kieran ships opened fire. Energy weapons and missiles streaked toward both the Artemis and the Unknown. Precursor vessels, brace for impact, shouted Lillian, but the impacts never came. The precursor ships absorbed every attack without damage. Their surfaces rippled with each hit as if they were made of water. Then they responded. Beams of light shot out from every precursor ship. Each beam touched a Kieran vessel. Each Kieran vessel simply came apart. Not exploding, but breaking down into basic elements, clouds of dust where mighty warships had been moments before. The entire Kieran battle fleet was gone in less than a minute. The voice returned to their minds. The seed has been planted. The Terrans will rise, the Empire will fall. You are our chosen inheritors, Admiral Lillian Vega. You will carry our message. A small object appeared on the bridge. It floated in the air, a sphere of the same black material. As the precursor ships, it pulsed with inner light. Take it. The time has come. Lillian reached out slowly and touched the sphere. Vision filled her mind. Knowledge beyond human understanding flowed into her. She saw the truth. The Kierans had found precursor technology thousands of years ago. They had used it to build their empire, but they had never truly understood it. The precursors had seeded human DNA with special coding. Humans were meant to be the next evolution, the next caretakers of the galaxy. The Kierans had discovered this truth and had worked to keep humans weak and divided. Lillian opened her eyes. The sphere had vanished, absorbed into her body. She felt different, stronger, more aware. The precursor ships began to move away. Where are you going? Lillian called out, both with her voice and her mind. We have awakened, we have delivered, the rest falls to you. The seeds are planted in all humans, they must only be activated. The knowledge is now yours. Use it wisely. The Empire of Dust awaits. The precursor ships accelerated and vanished. The bridge was silent. Everyone looked to Lillian. She stood straighter, somehow changed. Her eyes had a slight glow to them. Send a message to all human colonies, she said. All channels, maximum broadcast. Use the new frequencies in my mind. Tina looked confused but followed the instructions. Admiral, how will I know the new frequencies? You will, Lillian replied. And surprisingly, Tina did know. The information was suddenly there in her mind, as if the knowledge had always been there. This is Admiral Lillian Vega of the TSV Artemis, Lillian began. To all humans everywhere, the time has come. The Kieran Empire has kept the truth from us for centuries. We are more than what they have allowed us to be. We have powerful allies. The precursors have returned. They have given us the tools to break our chains. The warship has appeared. The Empire will turn to dust, rise up. Take back what is ours as. She spoke. Lillian felt the changes spreading through her body, the precursor knowledge activating dormant parts of her DNA. She could feel the same happening to her crew, their minds touching hers, a network forming, a shared consciousness across human space. People heard her message, and as they heard it, something awakened inside them too. Knowledge powers abilities the Kierans had suppressed for generations. The revolution had begun. The Kieran High Command Center buzzed with activity. Generals and admirals rushed from station to station. Their normally ordered processes had fallen into chaos. Reports flooded in from across their empire. Human colonies were rebelling Kieran. Ships were being destroyed. Bases were falling. Supreme Commander Thalax slammed his four-fingered hand on the table. His green scales reflected the emergency lights. Everyone fell silent. Explain this now, he demanded. His voice was low, but filled with menace. Admiral Zurak stepped forward. Our forces in the Terran sector encountered an unknown vessel of immense power. It destroyed Battle Group 7 in less than one planetary rotation cycle. We lost 200 warships and 50,000 warriors. Impossible, said Thalax. Battle Group 7 had the latest weapons and shields. Nothing could destroy it so quickly. The evidence is clear, replied Zurak. The unknown vessel appears to use precursor technology. The room went completely silent. The word precursor was rarely spoken in the Empire. It was forbidden knowledge. Only the highest leaders knew the truth. The Kierans had built their empire on stolen technology. Technology from an ancient race that had disappeared millions of years ago. Technology. They only partially understood. Even more concerning, continued Zurak. The humans are changing. The mental blocks we placed in their genetics are failing. They are developing abilities. Telepathy, telekinesis, enhanced strength and intelligence. Our control measures are no longer effective, the Lax hissed with anger. How is this possible? The human DNA modifications have worked for centuries. A scientist stepped forward. The precursor ship broadcast a signal. It activated dormant sections of human DNA sections we could not identify or remove. The changes are spreading rapidly from human to human through some kind of mental network. Thalax turned to his war council. Prepare the world killers. Target Earth and all major human colonies. No survivors. This time, we finish what we should have done centuries ago. Light years away, Director Pamela Wilson stood in the underground command center of Earth Defense Force. The room was filled with holographic displays showing battles across human space. She watched, as ordinary humans did extraordinary things. Miners on Mars lifted heavy equipment with their minds. Farmers on Europa formed defensive shields with pure thought. Children in the colonies sensed Kieran attacks before they happened. Colonel Andrea. Harris approached her director. The TSV Artemis has returned to Earth orbit. Admiral Vega requests permission to land. Bring her in, said Pamela. I need to see this precursor artifact for myself. The command center door opened. Admiral Lillian Vega walked. In her appearance had changed. Her eyes now had a subtle glow. Her movements were more fluid, more graceful. She carries it within her now, said Andrea. She merged with the precursor sphere. It changed her. Lillian smiled a knowing smile. Director Wilson, I bring knowledge that will save our species. The Kieran Empire is built on lies and stolen power. They found precursor ruins 20,000 years ago. They used the technology to conquer, but they never truly understood it. What happened to the precursors? Asked Pamela. They evolved beyond physical form, replied Lillian. They seeded many species across the galaxy with their genetic code. Humans were one such species. The Kierans discovered this and feared what we might become. They conquered Earth and modified our genetics to keep us weak. They disguised this as medical treatments and protective vaccines. One of the scientists in the room gasped. The annual wellness injections. Those were Kieran control measures, yes. Lillian nodded. They suppressed our true potential. But the precursor ship activated what the Kierans could not remove. The original precursor genetic code alerts suddenly sounded throughout the command center. A communications officer called out, Director, we have detected Kieran world killer vessels entering the solar system. 6 of them projected target is Earth. They will arrive in 18 hours. Pamela turned pale. 1 world killer could crack a planet like an egg. 6 would reduce Earth to cosmic dust. We need more time, said Lillian. The humans across our colonies are still awakening to their abilities. We need at least 3 days before we can mount a defense. Andrea stepped forward. What if we use the new abilities some of us have developed? Could we evacuate? Earth impossible, replied Pamela. 10 billion people in 18 hours. Even with teleportation abilities just developing, we could only save millions. The rest would die. Lillian closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, the glow had intensified. There is another way, she said. The Artemis was retrofitted with partial precursor technology. I can interface with it directly. Now I can make it something more than a simple warship. It can become a beacon. What do you mean? Asked Pamela. I will take the Artemis to meet the Kieran world killers, explained Lillian. I will broadcast the activation signal at maximum power. It will accelerate the awakening of humans throughout the system, and the Artemis asked Andrea. It cannot stand against 6 world killers. It cannot. Lillian agreed. But I do not need to defeat them, only delay them. Across the solar system, humans prepared for what might be their final hours. On Mars, Colonel Mary Stewart led a group of miners, now soldiers. Their minds were linked, sharing thoughts and emotions. They practiced moving objects with their new telekinetic abilities. They were preparing defensive barriers. On Europa, Dr. Karen Taylor worked frantically to understand the changes happening to human DNA. The precursor code was unlike anything she had ever seen. It seemed to rewrite itself, becoming more complex with each passing hour. The abilities it granted were growing stronger in orbit around Saturn. The science vessel, North Star, hid in the rings. Captain Lauren Hill watched her crew develop new talents hourly. The navigator could now see hyperspace routes with her naked eyes. The engineer could touch machinery and instantly understand how it worked. The communications officer could send messages with her. Mined in deep space, the TSV Artemis moved to intercept the approaching Terran world killers. On the bridge, Admiral Lillian Vega merged her consciousness with the ship. The walls seemed to melt away as her awareness expanded. She could feel every weapon system. She became the ship lieutenant. Kelly Wright monitored the Admiral's life signs. Her brain activity was off the charts. Energy readings from her body matched those of the precursor sphere. First Officer Dana Franklin spoke quietly to the bridge crew. "We must protect the Admiral at all costs. If she falls, Earth falls." The 6 Terran world killers appeared from hyperspace. Massive vessels the size of small moons. Their main weapons could crack a planet's crust with a single shot. The lead Terran commander opened a communication channel. "Human vessel. This is Fleet Lord Draxus. You have violated Imperial law by possessing forbidden technology. Surrender now and we will make your deaths." "Quick," Lillian replied, her voice coming from every speaker on the ship. "We will not surrender, Fleet Lord Draxus. For too long your empire has kept us in chains. We know the truth now. We know what we are meant to become." Fleet Lord Draxus laughed. "You are nothing. Humans are barely evolved. Primates. You exist to serve the Empire." "You are wrong," said Lillian. "We exist to replace you." She activated the ship's new systems. Precursor technology merged with human innovation. The Artemis began to glow with the same black light as the precursor vessels. The hull shifted, becoming fluid, changing shape. The Terran world killers opened fire. Energy beams capable of destroying planets struck the Artemis. The ship absorbed the energy. The hull rippled but held. Lillian felt pain as the ship took damage. But she also felt power growing inside her, inside the ship. Across the solar system, humans looked up as a new star seemed to appear in the sky. The Artemis was broadcasting the precursor activation signal at full power. The signal penetrated everywhere, even through solid rock, even through Terran blocking technology on Earth. Pamela Wilson fell to her knees as new knowledge flooded her mind. She suddenly understood Terran technology. She could see how to disable it, how to overcome it on Mars. Mary Stewart and her miners found they could link their telekinetic abilities, creating a shield large enough to cover the entire colony on Europa. Karen Taylor had a breakthrough. She could now see how to modify the precursor code to make it spread faster, to make the changes happen more quickly. The Terran world killers continued their attack on the Artemis. The ship was beginning to fail. Its hull breached in multiple places. Systems failing. Lillian knew she had only minutes left. She poured her consciousness, her very being, into one final broadcast. The signal went out stronger than before. It reached every human in the solar system and beyond. It carried not just the activation code, but knowledge, understanding of Terran weaknesses, plans for new weapons and defenses. The collective knowledge of the precursors as the Artemis began to break apart. Lillian spoke one last time, her voice reaching every human mind. "The warship has appeared. The Empire will turn to dust. Rise up. Take back what is yours." The Artemis exploded in a flash of light that blinded sensors for light years in every direction. When the light faded, the Terran world killers were still there. But something had changed. Their systems were failing. Their weapons powered down. Their engines stopped. The precursor signal had done more than awaken human abilities. It had targeted Terran technology, the technology they had stolen but never truly understood. It had triggered fail-safes built into the original precursor, designs fail-safes the Terrans had never discovered. The human revolution had begun and the empire had started to crumble like a giant turned to dust. The imperial palace of Kira Prime stretched across 10 square miles. Its towers reached into the clouds. Its walls were built from materials mined from 100 worlds. Thousands of guards patrolled its halls. But now those halls were quiet. Precursor virus had disabled most of the security systems. The guards were in disarray. Colonel Mary Stewart moved silently through the massive corridors. Her mind was linked with Dr. Karen Taylor and the being that had once been Admiral Lillian Vega. They shared thoughts and perceptions, creating a perfect awareness of their surroundings. Lillian guided them. The precursor artifacts are kept in the central vault below the throne room. 3 levels down, the Emperor believes they are simply trophies of conquest. He does not understand their true purpose. A group of Kiran guards appeared ahead. Their scaled bodies were covered in battle armor. Their 4-fingered hands held weapons that could tear a human apart. Mary raised her hand. The guards froze in place. Their minds temporarily shut down by her telepathic command. "They are getting stronger," said Karen. She could feel the human abilities developing faster on this world closer to the precursor artifacts. They reached a massive doorway carved with strange symbols. Lillian placed her hand on the door. The symbols began to glow. The door opened, revealing a spiral staircase leading down. As they descended, the air grew colder. The walls changed from decorated palace stone to something older, something that predated the Kiran Empire. "These are precursor ruins," said Lillian. "The Kirans built their palace on top of them. They thought it would give them legitimacy. They were right in ways they never understood." The staircase ended at another door, this one made of black metal that seemed to absorb light. It was the same material as the precursor ships. "Beyond this door lies the heart of the Empire," said Lillian. "The source of Kiran power, the artifacts that allowed them to conquer 1,000 worlds." Mary stepped forward. "How do we open it?" "We don't need to," replied Lillian. "The door is not locked, it is waiting. It has been waiting for us for 20,000 years." Karen pushed the door. It swung open. Silently, beyond was a circular chamber. Its walls, floor, and ceiling made of the same black material. The center of the room held a raised platform. On the platform sat 3 objects. The first was a sphere similar to the one that had merged with Lillian aboard the Artemis. The second was a cube covered in glowing symbols. The third was a pyramid, its surface constantly shifting and changing. The artifacts said, "Lillian," her voice filled with emotion. "These are the 3 keys: the mind, the body, the soul of the precursor civilization." She approached the platform. The artifacts began to glow brighter. They rose into the air, spinning slowly. Around them, the chamber came alive. Lights, patterns, symbols appeared on the walls. Mary and Karen watched in amazement as Lillian raised her hands. The artifacts moved toward her. "Stop right there." The voice echoed through the chamber. A Karen stepped from the shadows. His scales were darker than most. His eyes glowed with inner light. His armor was more elaborate than any they had seen. "Supreme Commander Thalax, how did you find us?" asked Mary, stepping between Lillian and the Kiran commander. "You think we did not know of your plan?" laughed Thalax. "We have watched the humans for centuries. We knew of your potential. We have worked to suppress it for generations. When the precursor ship appeared, we knew this day would come." "You sent your fleet to Earth," said Karen. "But you stayed behind." "A diversion," replied Thalax. "The human homeworld is of no importance. It is these artifacts that matter. They have built our empire. They will sustain it." "You do not understand their true purpose," said Lillian. "You never did." Thalax drew a weapon unlike any they had seen. It was not Kiran technology. It was older, more powerful, a precursor weapon. "I understand more than you think, human," he said. "I have studied the artifacts for 500 years. I have learned their secrets. They are tools of creation and destruction. They can build empires or tear them down." He fired the weapon. A beam of energy shot toward Lillian. Mary raised her hand, creating a telekinetic shield. The energy splashed against it, but some got through. Lillian staggered. Karen rushed to her side. "Are you hurt?" "Not in the way you think," replied Lillian. "The weapon disrupts. The connection between my consciousness and this physical form." Thalax fired again. This time Mary was ready. Her shield held. The Kieran commander hissed in frustration. "You have grown strong, human, but you are still new to these abilities. I have had centuries to prepare." The artifacts continued to spin above the platform. Their glow intensified. The symbols on the walls moved faster. "What is happening?" asked Karen. "The artifacts are awakening," said Lillian. "They recognize the presence of those with precursor DNA." "Both human and Karen?" Karen asked Mary in shock. "Yes," replied Lillian. The Karens were also seeded by the precursors long before humans, but they took a different path. They chose conquest over creation. They chose power over understanding. That is why the Empire must fall. That is why it will turn to dust. Thalax launched himself at them, moving with incredible speed, his body enhanced by precursor technology. He struck Mary, sending her flying across the chamber. He reached for Karen. But she was ready. Her mind connected with his pain, confusion, disorientation. She planted these thoughts in his mind. Thalax stumbled. The weapon fell from his hand. Now Lillian shouted. The artifacts responded. They flew toward Thalax, surrounding him. They spun faster and faster, creating a sphere of light. The Karen commander screamed, not in pain but in revelation. His mind was being opened. His understanding expanded. The artifacts showed him the truth. The full history of the precursors, their rise, their evolution, their seeding of 100 species across the galaxy, their hope that these children would one day join them in ascension. When the light faded, Thalax fell to his knees. His eyes had changed. They held the same glow as Lillian's. "I understand now," he whispered. "I see what we became, what we destroyed. The Empire, the conquests, the enslavement. It was all wrong." The artifacts returned to the platform. "He has been shown the truth," said Lillian. "The same truth I was shown aboard the Artemis." The precursors did not intend for their technology to be used for war. They created it to unite species, not to divide them. Mary helped Thalax to his feet. The Kieran commander seemed different. Humbled. "What happens now?" he asked. Now said, "Lillian, we activate the artifacts, we send their signal throughout the galaxy. We awaken all those with precursor DNA, Kieran, human, and others. The Empire will fall, but something better will rise in its place." Mary looked concerned. "What about Earth?" The Kieran fleet. Thalax touched a device on his armor. "I am still Supreme Commander. My orders will be obeyed." He spoke into the device. "This is Supreme Commander Thalax. All forces withdraw from Earth. Repeat. All forces withdraw. Return to Kara." "Prime, will they listen?" asked Karen. "They have no choice," replied Thalax. "Not only am I their commander, but the Emperor is my son. He will listen when I explain what I have learned here today." Lillian approached the artifacts. They responded to her presence. Their glow intensified. "It is time," she said. "The 3 keys must be united. The signal must be sent." She reached out with her mind. The artifacts rose higher. Their spinning increased. Light poured from them, filling the chamber, filling the palace above. Ground. The citizens of Kara Prime looked up as light shot from the Imperial Palace into the sky. The light spread outward, in waves and pulses, faster than any ship could travel. The signal raced across the galaxy on Earth. Director Pamela Wilson stood on a battlefield. The Kieran forces had suddenly stopped fighting. Their ships were turning away, leaving orbit on Mars. The human colonists watched as the sky filled with light. The same light that had come from the Artemis, but stronger, brighter across Kieran space. On 100 conquered worlds, the light touched all living things. Those with precursor DNA felt the change, knowledge, understanding, awakening, in the chamber beneath the Imperial Palace. Mary and Karen watched as Lillian and Thalax were lifted into the air, surrounded by the light of the artifacts. Their physical forms began to fade, becoming energy, becoming pure thought. "Do not fear," said Lillian's voice in their minds. "We are not leaving. We are evolving. The precursors have shown us the path. The next step in our journey. Karen and human together, we will guide you, we will protect you." The light faded. Lillian and Thalax were gone. The artifacts settled back onto the platform, dormant once more. But their presence remained. Mary and Karen could feel it in their minds, a guiding force, a shared consciousness connecting all those with precursor DNA. The empire of dust had begun to fall, but something new was rising to take its place. Something better, a union of species, a fulfillment of the precursor plan set in motion millions of years ago. Mary looked at Karen. "What do we do now?" "We rebuild," said Karen. "We heal the wounds of conquest. We unite those who were divided. We create something that will last, not for centuries, but for millions of years." The Terran Warship had appeared and the Empire had turned to dust. But from that dust something beautiful was growing. 3 days after the destruction of the Artemis, the human resistance gathered in the underground base on Mars. Colonel Mary Stewart stood before 500 newly awakened humans. Their abilities grew stronger by the hour. Some could move objects with their minds, others could see the future in brief flashes. Some could heal wounds with a touch. All could communicate telepathically in the growing network of human consciousness. Mary touched the display table and a hologram appeared showing the solar system. "We have confirmed reports that the 6 Kieran world killers remain disabled. Their crews are trapped inside. The ships cannot move or fire weapons. Our teams have boarded 3 of them." A tall woman stepped forward. Dr. Karen Taylor had been working non-stop to understand the changes in human DNA. "The precursor signal from the Artemis did more than we thought," she said. "It inserted a virus into Kieran systems. A virus that targets only technology based on stolen precursor designs. Is it permanent?" asked Mary. Karen nodded. "It rewrites the core programming. It cannot be reversed. However, not all Kieran technology is based on precursor designs. Their standard weapons and ships still function." The door to the command center opened. A Dawaimbu woman entered that no one recognized. Yet everyone felt a familiar presence in their minds. Lillian asked Mary, stepping forward in shock. The woman smiled. "Yes and no. I am what remains of Lillian Vega. But I am also something more. When the Artemis was destroyed, my consciousness was uploaded into the precursor network. How is this possible?" asked Karen. "The precursors evolved beyond physical form. Long ago," explained the woman who had been Lillian. "They exist as pure energy, pure thought. I have joined them partially. My physical body is gone. But they have created this form so I can interact with you." "What should we call you?" asked Mary. "Lillian will do," she replied with a smile. "I retain my human identity and memories, but I now carry the collective knowledge of the precursors. And I bring a warning. The Kieran Empire is wounded but not defeated. Supreme Commander Thalax has ordered all forces to converge on Earth. Our victory has only made them more determined to wipe us out." "How many ships?" asked one of the officers. "Thousands," replied Lillian. "They will arrive in waves. The first will reach Earth in 2 days. We can't stop so many," said Mary. "Even with our new abilities, we are still learning to use them. We have only a few ships. We don't need to stop them all," said Lillian. "We only need to reach their homeworld, Kara Prime. That is where they keep the original precursor artifacts, the source of their power. If we can access it, we can shut down their entire empire. But Kara Prime is on the other side of the galaxy," said Karen. "It would take years to reach it, even with our fastest ships." "Not necessarily," said Lillian. "The precursors created a network of wormholes. There is one near Neptune. It can take us directly to Karen space. The room fell silent as everyone processed this information. So we send a strike team through this wormhole, asked Mary. What happens when we arrive? Their homeworld will be heavily defended. Lillian waved her hand over the table. The hologram changed, showing a blue planet with 3 moons, Kira Prime. Most of their fleet is being sent to attack Earth. Their homeworld is defended by automated systems. Systems based on precursor technology. Systems that can be disabled by the same virus that disabled the world killers. A plan began to form. First, they would gather the strongest humans, those whose abilities had developed the furthest. They would take the remaining Terran warships and travel to Neptune. They would use the wormhole to reach Kieran space. Then a small team would infiltrate Kira Prime and access the precursor artifacts. Meanwhile, Director Pamela Wilson would lead the defense of Earth, using the disabled Kieran world killers as bases. They had discovered that the massive ships could be repurposed. The humans whose technical abilities had been enhanced could reconfigure the Kieran technology. On the other side of the solar system, another group of humans had made a different discovery. The TSV Defiant, under the command of Captain Beth Monroe, had found something unexpected in the ruins of the Artemis. Captain Monroe stood in the cargo bay looking at the strange object. It appeared to be a piece of the Artemis hull, but it was changing, growing, rebuilding itself. Science. Officer Judy Kent scanned the object with specialized equipment. It's generating the same energy signature as the precursor ship. She said, "It's alive in some way." Captain Monroe reached out to touch it. The surface felt warm. It rippled under her fingers. Then she heard Lillian's voice in her mind. "You have found the seed." The Artemis was more than a ship. It was a precursor seed vessel. When it was destroyed, it released its core. This is how they spread their technology. This is how they rebuilt after the ancient wars. "What should we do with it?" asked Beth, both aloud and in her mind. "Protect it. Nurture it. It will grow into something new. Something that can turn the tide of this war." Beth ordered. The object moved to a secure location on the Defiant. It continued to grow, taking on a more defined shape hour by hour. It expanded. Soon it was the size of a small shuttle. Its surface was the same liquid black material as the precursor ship back on Mars. The strike team prepared for their mission. Colonel Mary Stewart would lead 30 of the most powerful humans through the Neptune wormhole. Dr. Karen Taylor would accompany them to study and understand the precursor artifacts on Kira Prime. Lillian, in her new form, would guide them. She alone understood the precursor technology fully. She alone could navigate the wormhole network. As they prepared to depart, news arrived from Earth. The first wave of the Kieran fleet had arrived early. Hundreds of warships filled Earth's orbit. They were launching. Ground Forces Director Pamela Wilson sent a desperate message. "The defense is holding, but barely. We have repurposed 2 of the world killers. Their weapons now target Kieran ships, but there are too many. We need more time." Mary turned to Lillian. "We need to leave now." Lillian nodded. "Our window is closing. The Kierans will discover the wormhole soon. They will try to destroy it, or worse, use it themselves." The strike team boarded their ships, 3 Terran warships, the last of Earth's fleet. The journey to Neptune would take 12 hours, even at maximum speed. Captain Beth Monroe received new orders. The Defiant would join the strike team. The mysterious object they had recovered from the Artemis ruins might be important. Lillian believed. It was growing into a new precursor seed ship, one that could help them activate the artifacts on Kira Prime. As the small fleet of human ships approached Neptune, they detected Kieran activity. A scout ship had found the wormhole. It was transmitting data back to the main fleet. "We need to stop that transmission," said Mary. "It's too late," replied Lillian. "They know now. We must hurry." The wormhole appeared as a swirling blue vortex in space near Neptune's largest moon, Triton. It pulsed with energy, ancient and powerful. The human ships accelerated toward it. Kieran weapons fire followed them. The scout ship had been joined by 2 destroyers. The Defiant took a hit. Its shields failed. Beth Monroe felt the ship shudder. The growing precursor seed in the cargo bay seemed to respond. It pulsed with energy. The ship's damaged systems repaired themselves. The wormhole grew larger as they approached. Lillian guided them mentally, showing the pilots exactly where to enter the swirling energy field. The 3 Terran warships entered first, then the Defiant. As it passed through the wormhole, the Kieran destroyers followed. They would not let their prey escape. The journey through the wormhole took only moments, but it felt like eternity to the humans aboard. The ships. They saw strange visions. Other worlds, other times. The rise and fall of civilizations. The birth and death of stars. When they emerged, they were in Kieran space. The blue-green world of Kira Prime filled their view screens. Its 3 moons orbited slowly. Its surface showed the massive cities of the Empire. There were ships in orbit, but far fewer than expected. Most of the Kieran fleet had indeed been sent to attack Earth. The defense of their homeworld had been left to automated systems that were about to fail. Lillian broadcast the precursor virus, the same code that had disabled the world killers. One by one, the orbital defense platforms went dark. The automated ships stopped moving. Their weapons powered down. Now said, "Mary, send." In the strike team, the cargo bay of the Defiant opened. The precursor seed had transformed into a small vessel. Its black surface rippled with energy. It detached from the Defiant and moved toward the planet's surface. Inside were Mary, Karen, and Lillian. The seed ship knew where to go. It headed directly for the largest structure on the planet's surface, the Imperial Palace, the place where the original precursor artifacts were kept. The seed ship passed through the Kieran defenses without slowing. The palace guards fired weapons that had no effect. Its liquid metal hull absorbed the energy. The ship landed in the central courtyard of the palace. Its hull opened, creating a doorway. The 3 women stepped onto Kieran soil. The Empire of Dust awaits, said Lillian. 1 year after the events at Kira Prime, the galaxy was changing. Mary Stewart now. General Stewart stood on the observation deck of the new Terran space dock. The massive structure orbited Earth, a symbol of human advancement. The view was spectacular. Ships of all kinds moved through space. Some were human designs, others Kieran, and some were new designs created through cooperation between the species. So much has changed, she said to the woman beside her. Dr. Karen Taylor nodded. They had both been changed by their experiences. Their mental abilities had grown stronger. They could communicate without words. They could sense the growing network of consciousness that spread across the galaxy. General Stewart, General Taylor, a young officer, approached them. The council is ready for you. They followed her through the space dock. The walls were made of the same black material as the precursor ships. It was alive in some way, responding to those who passed. Growing, changing, adapting. The council chamber was a large room with a circular table. Representatives from a dozen worlds sat waiting. Humans and Kierans together with other species newly freed from Imperial control. Mary and Karen took their seats. The holographic projector in the center of the table activated. 2 figures appeared. One was Lillian Vega. The other was Thalax. Though they no longer had physical bodies, they could project images of themselves. "Greetings, Council," said Lillian. Her voice was both in the air and in their minds. "We bring news from the outer reaches. More worlds have joined our alliance. The signal continues to spread." The council members murmured in approval. Supreme Fleet Commander Zurak, a Kieran with bright blue scales, spoke. "What of the resistance? Some still cling to the old ways. Some still believe in the Empire. They grow fewer each day," replied Thalax. "As the signal awakens more of our people, they understand the truth. They see the path we were meant to take, the path we abandoned for conquest." And power young Emperor Valax, son of Thalax, nodded. His father had taught him well. The transition from Empire to Alliance had not been easy. But the young Emperor had embraced change. "We have begun dismantling the last world killers." He said, "There, Technology is being repurposed for exploration, not destruction. Dr. Elizabeth Rivera, the human representative from Mars, activated a display showing data. The genetic changes continue to spread. She reported both in humans and Karens. The abilities manifest differently in each species, but the underlying pattern is the same. We are all evolving along the path the precursors designed. And what of the original artifacts? Asked a representative from one of the newer Alliance members. They remain in the vault on Kira Prime, answered. Karen protected, studied, but not used. Their purpose was fulfilled. They were keys to unlock our potential, not weapons to be wielded. Mary turned to Lillian. Have you learned more about the precursors? Where they went, why they left these artifacts behind? Lillian smiled. They did not leave. They merely changed form. Their consciousness exists throughout the galaxy in substrates we are only beginning to understand. They seeded 100 worlds with their genetic code. Each slightly different, each an experiment in evolution. They hoped that one day their children would join them, that together we would create something greater than any single species could achieve alone. That is our purpose. Then asked Karen, to evolve. To join the precursors. Not exactly, replied Thalax. The precursors do not wish to absorb us. They wish to learn from us. Each species brings new perspectives, new ideas, new ways of understanding the universe. The goal is not to become them, but to join with them as equals, each unique, each valuable. A large view screen on the wall activated, showing a massive construction project in orbit around Jupiter. The structure was like nothing seen before. Part ship, part habitat, part living entity. To a Genesis project, said Mary. It grows well. The first of many, replied Lillian. This vessel will carry representatives of all Alliance species to the stars, not to conquer but to discover, to find other children of the precursors, to expand the network. Of consciousness, is it alive? Asked one of the council members. In a way, said Karen. It contains elements of precursor technology, merged with the best of human and Kiran engineering. It can heal itself, grow, adapt. But it is not conscious, not in the way we understand consciousness. The meeting continued for hours. Reports were given. Plans were made. The Alliance was still young, still fragile, but it grew stronger. Each day, after the council adjourned, Mary and Karen walked to a special chamber deep. Within the space dock, the room was small, intimate. At its center floated a small object. It was a piece of the original TSV Artemis. The ship that had changed everything. It still contains traces of the precursor signal, said Karen. It still resonates. With their energy, Mary touched the object. It felt warm, alive. She could sense Lillian's presence within it. You miss her? Asked Karen. Mary nodded. She was my friend, my commander. She sacrificed everything. She is still with us, replied Karen. In the network, in the consciousness we all share. She is not gone, merely changed. Outside the space dock, a small precursor ship appeared. Its black surface rippled as it moved, its purpose unknown. It had appeared several times in the past year, always watching, never interfering. The ship is here again, said Mary. A reminder, said Karen, of how this all began. A single Terran warship that appeared and turned an empire to dust. But that was not the end, said Mary. It was a beginning. The two women watched as the precursor ship moved away, its surface glinting in the sunlight, its presence a promise. The journey had just begun. The evolution would continue. Species that once fought would now grow together. Human Chiron and others, all children of the precursors, all following the path that had been set for them millions of years ago. Far away in the vastness between galaxies, other precursor ships moved. Other signals were sent, other empires would fall, other alliances would rise, and the great experiment would continue. Lillian, Vega once human now. Something more observed it all. Her consciousness expanded across light years. She could see the past, the present, glimpses of possible futures. She watched over the children of Earth, the children of Kira, the children of the precursors the Empire had turned to dust, but from that dust new worlds were forming, new possibilities, new hopes, and she would guide them all. The Terran Warship had appeared, it had fulfilled its purpose, and now the true journey could begin, the end.